Hello, French 1 students. Here's your lesson 11C and prononciation from pages 168 and 169 in your textbook. La place des adjectifs. Note the position of the adjectives in the sentences on the right. Philippe a une voiture. Il a une voiture anglaise. Denise invite des copains. Elle invite des copains américains. Voici un livre. Voici un livre intéressant. J'ai des amis sympathiques. So again, what we notice here, a couple different things. First off, notice that here's our noun, here's our adjective, 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 and as you see right here, in French, adjectives usually come after the noun they modify according to the pattern article, noun, adjective. Okay? So that's the first thing to notice. The second thing to notice is a review, right? Anglaise here ends in an E because une voiture is feminine and singular. Américain here ends in an S because des copains is masculine and plural. Intéressant doesn't have anything because un livre is masculine and singular, and sympathique has an S because des amis is feminine and plural. It doesn't have an extra E because sympathique is one of those adjectives that already ends in an E. Okay, so this is different from how things are in English, right? In English, our adjectives usually come before the noun. Okay, so that's what happens in English usually. In French, our adjective come after the noun. That's what happens in French. Working through the translation of these, we have Philip has a car. Philip has an English car. Denise invites some friends. She invites some American friends. Here is a book. Here is an interesting book. I have some friends. I have some nice friends. So, kind of a review here a little bit about adjectives now that we're coming to the end of this lesson about adjectives. Remember, we've been talking about regular adjectives. And we kind of put an X here because masculine singular, that's the form you find in a dictionary. That's the form you find in a glossary. That's the form that you're going to find. Okay? To that masculine singular adjective, if we have to make it plural, we're going to add an S. To that masculine singular adjective, if we need it to be feminine and singular, we're going to add an E. And to that masculine singular adjective, if we need it to be feminine and plural, we're going to add an ES. Remember the couple kind of little exceptions here. Okay, we add an S to make our adjective masculine and plural, except when our adjective already ends in S. Okay, and same thing here with our masculine singular and feminine singular. We add an E, okay, except when our adjective already ends in E. All right. Remember, our adjectives must agree in gender. By gender, we mean masculine and feminine. So gender means masculine and feminine. And number. And by number, we mean, okay, number means the singular or the plural, okay, with the noun they describe. So adjectives always have to agree in gender and number with the noun they describe. The format of a sentence with an adjective in it, it's going to be our article, our noun, our adjective. And again, That adjective has to agree with that noun. So, some examples here. If we want to talk about an English motorcycle, the word for motorcycle is un moto. The fact that this is an un tells you what about the noun? Yes, that it's feminine. So we have un moto. The word for English is anglais. That, again, is the masculine singular form. I have to add an E to this so that it agrees with the un moto that's feminine and singular. A Japanese camera. Camera is un appareil photo. Again, the en tells us that the word camera in French is masculine. The word for Japanese is japonais. And again, I'm not going to add anything to it because this noun is masculine and singular, so I don't add anything to my adjective. Some French cars, so this is plural, so my article is going to be des. The word for car is voiture, and I have to make it plural, so I need to add an S to it. And then the word for French is français, so that's my masculine singular form, but voiture is feminine and plural here, so I need to add an ES. So again, I've added this ES because des voitures is feminine and plural. So your adjectives, again, always have to agree in gender and number with the noun they describe, and your adjectives come after the noun they describe. Okay, so in English we say an English motorcycle, in French you say a motorcycle English. All right, prononciation.
Prononciation. Les consonnes finales. Écoutez.
Blond, blonde.
As you know, when the last letter of a word is a consonant, that consonant is often silent. But when a word ends in E, the consonant before it is pronounced. As you practice the following adjectives, be sure to distinguish between the masculine and the feminine forms. Répétez.
Blond, blonde. Grand, grande. Petit, petite. Amusant, amusante. Français, française. Anglais, anglaise. Américain, américaine. Canadien, canadienne.
À votre tour.
Your homework is on page 168, exercise 9. Qui se ressemble? Birds of a feather. This says parler, but you're going to do it as a writing activity. Say that the following people have friends, relatives, or acquaintances with the same personality or nationality. So look at your example prompt. Michelle est anglaise. So we're saying, sorry, Michelle. I don't know where Michelle came from. Claire est anglaise. So Claire is English. So we see un copain in parentheses. So we want to say she has an English friend. So that means we're going to review real quickly here the forms of the verb avoir, which means to have. Right? The forms of avoir are j'ai, tu as, il or elle a, nous avons, vous avez, and il and elle, pluriel, ont. So that's the verb you're going to use in your sentence. Which form of the verb you use will depend upon the subject of your sentence. So this example becomes elle a, because Claire is one girl, so we'd say she, a, and then un copain and using the same adjective. Now notice, my adjective is spelled differently here because un copain is masculine and Claire was feminine, so we have to change our adjective. So if we look at one of these, how about number 5. So 5 says, Véronique est amusante. And then we have en frère. So the sentence is telling us Veronica is amusing. So we want to say she has an amusing brother because we have en frère. So our sentence that we write is going to be elle a un frère. Now, this amusant has an E on it because Veronica is a girl. Frère is masculine. So it's going to be amusant without the E on it. So our sentence that we write is, okay, elle a un frère amusant. So you're going to write sentences like these for the 9 of them. Au revoir, à demain.